Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Danger Park was a Kickstarter game that I backed because it had a theme park theme to it, and you're pretty much going to get me in on a theme park game. But it has a little bit of a wrinkle into it, as you don't want to build the best theme park. Your theme park is falling apart, and it is a dangerous place to be. And I think at the time I had watched some stuff about Action Park. If you don't know Action Park, definitely go on YouTube or HBO Max and watch a documentary on Action Park. Ugh. Your mind's going to be blown that Action Park was real. And that's kind of what Danger Park is. It's almost like a real-life action park. So it was kind of fun to play. I like the theme park theme. I like what it brought to the table. The components are fine. What did I like about it? I like the planning of it. You really have to think ahead about what's going to burst and where the people are going to go, and that's fine. There's a lot more I didn't like about this game than I did. One, it's way too fiddly. Way too much fiddliness going on. Trying to count the little different icons on it. And each of the rides has something different, which is a plus, but it's a lot to keep track of at the same part. The theme was kind of a detraction. Like, we're all running the same theme park, but we have different ticket booths on stuff. I really didn't understand how that kind of came through. The fiddliness was pretty bad. It was weird that these rides are breaking down so much. Like, it's just bizarre. It's just a weird thing. And once again, you have that thematic disconnect of what we're trying to do here. I like a little bit more of like, maybe that's happening, but we're trying to keep positive about it. But this one's almost like you want things to break down, but you want other people's rides in the same park. And I'm like, well, if Joe's rides are breaking and you're part of the same theme park, people are going to say, oh, this ride is made by me. So they want to, it's just very weird. Very fiddly, a lot of things to keep track of. There's a lot of analysis paralysis. So when it's your turn, you'll be rolling dice on all of your rides. So the more rides you gain as the game goes on, the longer this process is going to be. And a 4-player game, I'm just waiting on you to do all your stuff, the next person to do all their stuff, and this is one of the few games where we end up having like all these side conversations. Oh, by the way, it's your turn. Okay, so let me think about what I want to do here, because I can't really plan on your turn. So let me do this, I'll roll my dice, blah, 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 and then we nudge the next person. Okay, it's your turn to play. I don't know that I like that experience as much. This is probably a game that could have been streamlined a little bit. I don't know that it really works. It reminds me of something from a different era. With that said, the components are great. You got the game trays that come with it. I like what they're going for. I like the people who get sick on the rides. I like that differentiation. So there's things I liked about it and things I did not, but I think the negatives outweigh the positives for me, and this will be a purge. Here is Danger Park, which is a Kickstarter that just got fulfilled recently. You can see a theme park here with everything going wrong and kids crying on the front. Very weird theme for a game. Inside, you have a rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. Then you'll have some cards here, which will be pretty good quality, actually. They look pretty good. Here are the improvement cards you can see on this side. Then on this side, you're just going to have like a word about what will happen. No artwork really included. Same thing with these policy ones. Not a whole lot of artwork on the cards. Then you're going to have these square cards, which will be the rides that you'll see. And you'll see each ride on their closed side will have pretty good artwork, actually. I like the artwork in this game. Very bright and very colorful. This will be the player aid that you'll have for each of the players. And then you can see you have a danger up here and a little bit of wordage about what happened and a picture of what's going on. But you can see these are bright and colorful, and it's really fun to get these rides out. This will be the front of your park, which will keep track of how many incidents there are for the round. And then you'll see game trays, right? There's a ticket to show you the first player. And then Game Trays has done the tray here. Now, a lot of these trays will be utilized during gameplay, which is really, really nice. You're going to see in here, you're going to have some of these meeples. You'll have this, which you can track through as you go. So this is not only helpful to carry your stuff, but can actually be utilized during the game format. And then you'll have little tiles. These will be the booths that you'll utilize during the game for the different players. This will sit right on the rides. That's pretty neat. Then you'll have just regular 8-sided die that will be utilized in here, and little chits and stuff that will be utilized, and big meeples, etc. But this makes setup very, very easy. And mine came with game trays. So I think all of these come with the game trays, so not an extra that will be had. And you can see the little Danger Park, if you can see that, that's printed on here. So here's a rulebook for Danger Park. You can see the font is really big. It kind of tells you the objective right there on the front. A picture of some of the components here, not all of them. And then you're going to have a picture of setup over here. And then overview, the font is really big. The icons are listed right here so you can easily see. Here's an overview. This is the game right here. So all you'll be doing with some extra stuff here. Then you'll break down each of the 4 phases. This will be phase 3. This is really where you'll be dice rolling and what goes on. And then you gain money into the end of round stuff. Then they'll kind of break down movement, how people will move with plenty of examples and pictures that you can see here. What happens with an incident and a policy. And then scoring and how to put everything back in. This is very, very nice that you have at the end of the game. And then the appendix of just some things that you'll have here. And on the back is an example turn. Very good. I did have some problems with the game, the rules in general. Probably take you maybe half an hour to get through these rules. The font is very big. Now, I'll just showcase a couple rule issues I had. Like, here it says if a ride closes, that's 4+. So does that happen only in this phase? So does it stay open into this phase? Because there are opportunities when the improvement cards come out that it could trigger a closing. But do you wait to the end of this because people can move? And maybe, it's just kind of weird how that came out. So I'm not sure if the ride has to close here or if it can close maybe in phase 2. It wasn't very that clear. And then down here, end of the round, you could definitely get more vomit on there and close. So can it close here during the incident, or do you have to wait to the next phase 3 of the owner? I'm not really sure. That's just an example of something that wasn't very clear in the rule book. So that was one of the big questions that we kind of had. So, does it happen immediately or in that section? I don't know. But otherwise, the rule book, was mediocre at best. I did like a lot about it. The pictures, I liked the big font. It was broken down. And it was just kind of hard to follow at some point. So, and the rules weren't exactly clear. So, we house rolled it. We made it work. I think we were doing it correctly. But, I won't be for sure. So this game tray will be the setup of the game. You'll have this here, and you'll have a tracker through here that will keep track of the incidents. Now the game will end when you get to 9 incidences or 13 in a longer game or a 4-player game, and you'll have some of your items here. You can also just set these aside and people can have access to this. Really doesn't take a whole lot of setup. Then you're going to shuffle up the major policy deck. Everybody will get 2 of these, and you'll be able to keep 1. So keep this card when there are 5 vomits on a ride, discard to gain 6. These are just things that you can kind of work towards or get a bonus if they occur. At the beginning of the game, you will pick 1 of these. Then you'll shuffle up the ride cards, and you'll put a number of these out as like the entry point of the game, 1 for each player in the game. Then each of these will get 2 patrons on these little black ones that will come out and be a starting resource on these. And they would get the token up here that is signified on it. So you just kind of put this on to put a token on it. Then you'll shuffle the rest of the ride cards. And I'm just going to set them here just for ease of see because we only have so much room. And you'll put 3 of these face up for players to choose from as the game progresses. Then you'll take the minor policy cards and you'll put these by type that you can see here. And these will be set aside for the players to earn during the game. Then you're going to shuffle up the improvement deck. And each of these rides is going to get an improvement card that will be set with it. So when you select one of these, you'll be also selecting those cards. Then players will take turns choosing, in reverse turn order, choosing one of these starting locations that will be their starting ride. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a turn here and kind of show you what will happen. So the first thing you're doing, now these won't be placed here, they're only placed here for ease of see. You're going to pick one of these rides that you're going to build. These are the starter ones. Everybody has ownership over one of these when the game starts, and you'll be choosing from these face up, and they'll always be 3 face up. So you can just choose one of these, and when you take it, you not only take the ride, but you'll take the card that's with it. So let's say we chose this one right here. We'll take this card, and then at the end of the round, you're going to put a new one out for the next player to be able to choose from. Well, these have no cost. We'll set these aside for now because we don't need them, but there's no cost associated with it. You just take whichever one that you want to take. Then you can build the ride. So what you'll do is you'll put the ride orthogonally adjacent to any ride that you want. So let's say I choose, I want to put it there. I will then take the icon there. I will take 2 patrons and put on it, and then I will put a ticket booth of my color signifying that I own or will profit from this ride. So a ticket booth, 2 patrons, and an icon token matching whatever is printed on there. Then I will take the improvement card and do whatever it says. Swap ownership of any 2 rides. Maybe there's another ride that I want, so I could swap. It doesn't have to be my own. I can just swap 2 ownership because this said so. And there's a lot of things this could do. Each player takes a minor policy in turn order. You take 1 more. Add one of these danger tokens and 2 vomit riders to a ride. Swap the location of 2 rides. 2 people on each ride become vomit. Add 3 sick people to the park entrance. So these are just things, and you just do whatever one you pick, and you're going to have that choice when you're choosing the ride and the danger improvement. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take the 8-sided die for each ride that you own. I'm going to put these down just so you can easily see. So this has 1 token on it, and this one has 1 token on it, because not a lot of danger has been put out. So I will roll the die. If I roll higher than that amount, I roll 2 for this, then this has succeeded and nothing will happen. But then I have to roll for my other one. If I roll here and it's equal to or less than, then I will have failed. So since I failed, I would add 1 additional danger to it, because it is more dangerous, and one of the patrons will leave. If you look here, each of these, let me show you on this one, each of these will have an exit on it. So this one everybody would exit straight down, right? And each one may have different exits on it. So let's show you a few of these. So this one goes straight down. This ride would exit in any 3 of these directions of the arrow. This one can go this way or down. So on this one, somebody has to exit because I failed the roll. So he will come off. There's nothing there. So he'll go back to the park entrance. Otherwise, if let's say he would have been on this one, this arrow pointed down, he would come down onto this card right here. So the patrons will move if there is a failure. So the more danger you get on there, the more likely it is for you to roll the die in order to have a failure like we just showed. Now, if you ever have 4 danger of the same type, so it's fine if you have different types, but if you have 4 of the same type, then the ride is going to close down. At that point, all patrons on it would exit. In this case, there's nowhere for it to go, so it would go back to the park entrance. Then you will get rid of these tokens. They go back to the supply. This will flip over to the ride close side, and you'll get your little ticket booth back. At that point, you can choose one of the minor policies that you'll have, and these will give you bonuses. So you keep this card when a ride closes due to this icon, you return this to get 3 money. That's what most of these will do, is just give you money if you can choose which one will probably close down. So minor policies can give you additional income. Then the 4th step is very easy. For each person or patron on one of your rides, you're going to get $1. In this case, I have 1, 2, 3. So I would get 3 money, which is really just victory points for the end of the game. After everybody has gone, you will go end of round. Now, there's a few things to kind of signify for you. You're going to have these green meeples. And when these come out, these represent people who are vomit-induced or sick when they're on a ride. So anybody who has a green person on it, at the end of the round, after everybody has gone, they would vomit on the ride. And you would put an additional vomit token out. So they're the only ones that do that. Now, the other caveat here is you're going to have these group people that will come out, which will be these big ones. They represent 5. So whenever you have 5 of the same type, the black ones, on the board, you can replace them with one of these gold ones, and they just represent 5 meeples on the board, and they'll pay out $5, one for each meeple that they represent. Now, I should further point out that every time a ride closes or there's an incident, this marker will continue to move up here. And this will track how many rides have closed or how many incidents that you have. When it gets to 9, the game will end. There's a long version when you get to 13, which is recommended with 4 players. But let's say you're just playing to the 9. At that point, the game would end and then you would score. And whoever has the most money or victory points will be the winner of the game. And that's how you play Danger Park. Who should buy this game? If you like the theme park theme, if you like the action park kind of side of things, and you like the idea of this breaking down, you don't mind the fiddliness, I'd probably play this with less players to keep the AP down, like 2 or 3 players is where I would kind of center this one in. This is probably what I'm going to go back to, even though it's on the Purge list. I'm probably going to play it again and again and just see, like, what am I missing here? Is it, do I like that experience enough with 2 or 3, but with the 4, it's just way too long for what it wants to be. Now, the game tells you when you go to 9 incidents, 13 with a 4 player, do not do that. I think you should stick strictly with the 9. I think this is better as a shorter experience, and that's not necessarily a negative. That's just the way that it kind of plays out. Now, your gaming people may play this a little bit differently. And then we had some rule ambiguities from the beginning, so the rules weren't that clear. The whole thing was kind of a mess, but in a positive and in a good way. So for us, it'll be a purge, but this might be one you like to check out. The theme really, really pulls you in.